Hey, so the YouTube mates who are all part of the Planet Broadcasting Facebook groups are all kind of doing their own solo collabs where we're all making our own videos talking about our favorite movies that came out in each year that we were alive. So you'll see content from guys like the martial arts film freak, the unapologetic geek, and also Film Kraken Media, who is a guy who is just working like a fucking dog. That dude is pumping out content like every second day or something. I'm pretty jealous of that. But anyway, today it's my turn. So yeah, it's about as simple as that. Let's just get to it. Okay, so first up for 1996, I'm 26 years old, so I mean, that's the first year, that's how numbers work. My runner-up for this one, I could have gone with Fargo. That's a great film, but come on, I had to give this one to Scream. Scream is just an absolute classic. I've seen it probably 20 plus times, something like that. It's one that I watch, I think, most years. I probably don't even love it quite as much as my wife, who was the one who kind of got me really into this franchise. But yeah, Scream is one that we have watched numerous times, and it's just great. There's not much else to say about it. You know what Scream is. It's just great. Then next up for 1997, now I could have gone with Scream 2, but I have kind of this rule on this list where I don't just want to keep going through all the sequels. So if I name one as like the winner of that year, I'm not really going to go through sequels later on, just because I don't want to be talking about the same kind of movies over and over again, if that makes any sense. That's just how my brain works. I know they're different movies, but that's my rule for some reason. Anyway, my runner-ups from 1997, they could have been Liar Liar. I mean, Liar Liar is so damn funny. I loved it as a kid, probably when I shouldn't have been watching it, or at least maybe not shouldn't have been, but probably didn't understand what the hell I was watching. And I also could have gone with Wishmaster. If you haven't seen Wishmaster, man, that's a huge recommend if you share my similar tastes anyway, in being a pretty bad movie that I fucking love so much. It's this silly horror movie. But anyway, the winner for 1997, and I don't feel that proud of it. It's kind of a guilty pleasure, but it's Face Off, man. Yeah, Nicolas Cage and John Travolta swapping faces and fighting to the death. I love Face Off so much, and I actually think it's kind of a genuinely good movie, to be honest. I know it's kind of dumb. It's a dumb action movie, I get that. But I think there's some real emotion in there. Like when he has to, you know, where he wants his family back and everything. There's actually some mature themes here, I'm hesitant to say, but it's kind of true. I think Face Off is a good movie. Is that a hot take? I don't know. Then 1998, I could have gone with American History X, which is probably objectively the best movie here, but it's not my favorite. I also could have gone with Halloween H2O because, I don't know, I have a soft spot in my heart for that movie for whatever reason. But I went with Pleasantville. Now, Pleasantville is a movie that I regrettably only know because of high school, because we had to study it in like year 10, 11 or something like that. And so it was cool to be able to watch a genuinely good movie and study it and everything at the time. But you know, in retrospect, it's like, I don't know, the movie's been kind of tainted in my mind because it's like, I had to study that one. That's never a good thing for like a long-lasting relationship with a movie, you know what I mean? But it's undeniable, the creativity that is in Pleasantville, and I just love the idea. It's like a Treehouse of Horror episode of The Simpsons or something. I just really enjoy that, and the whole black and white turn to color thing, it's a great little metaphor for you there. Sure, it's kind of surface level, it's kind of obvious what it's doing or whatever, but like, I don't know, there's a certain beauty to it. And I just genuinely really enjoy that feel of watching it. Then 1999, I could have gone with Fight Club, absolute classic. Deep Blue Sea, which is, I don't know, that's a really hard one not to have be like the winner of 1999 for me. But then there's also The Matrix, but the one that I went with was Two Hands. This is a little Australian movie. I believe it's set in Sydney. This has Heath Ledger in it, and it's just this little crime comedy, I guess, really. It's very much based on like the works of Quentin Tarantino, where it's a bunch of, you know, bumbling idiots trying to do crimes and things go wrong basically, and people get in deep shit with certain criminal people that you don't want to get in deep shit with. So basically Heath Ledger's on the run from like the Australian mafia and stuff, and it's just a really funny, good film that I really highly recommend to just about everybody. This is another one though that I only know because of high school. I'm not proud to say, but it's true, but I think it's great. Then next up in the year 2000, I could have gone with Shanghai Noon, which is a childhood favorite. Then there's Castaway, objectively a great movie, and the first X-Men, which was really the start of this era of superhero films, you know, throughout the past 22 years. The one that I went with for this is Final Destination. I think Final Destination is one that I kind of needed to go with just because it has a very unique premise that you hadn't seen before that film, at least I hadn't. And, you know, it's something that was like strong enough to run through a bunch of sequels as well. Every sequel is about the exact same thing, and it's because that general premise from the very start was strong. It's awesome. I love it. And, you know, it also gives you like bloody kills and silly stuff like that as well. Genuinely, I think the first Final Destination is probably objectively like the best in terms of actually trying to take itself somewhat seriously and, you know, achieving that to an extent. And as it goes on, the sequels just get sillier and sillier. But yeah, it's not my favorite Final Destination movie, but it's probably my favorite movie from the year 2000, if that makes any sense. Then 2001, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is one that I could have gone with, tricked you there, or I could have gone with Training Day. But I went with something completely different, at least from Training Day, with Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is a movie, again, much like some of the other ones that I've already talked about, but much like I mentioned with Scream, Monsters Inc. is one that I've probably watched fucking 50 times or so, or whatever, you know. It's one that I loved since I was a kid, and it's one that me and my wife fell in love with together, and just kind of, it was our comfort film for a good amount of years there. Monsters Inc. is something that is just so close to my heart that I feel like I could not possibly objectively review that, but there's just something so damn funny about it. I don't know. There's so many good, memorable lines in there. I love the Yeti dude who makes the snow cones and stuff. I don't know, man. Monsters Inc. is great. Then 2002, I could have gone with 1 Hour Photo, which is this really great movie that I only watched, I think, last year with Robin Williams in it, where he's like this creepy stalker guy learning stuff about the people whose photos he's developing for, and it's fucking, he's such a creep. But I didn't go with that. I didn't go with Catch Me If You Can either. I didn't go with 28 Days Later either, which I've loved for a damn long time since I was a kid. What I went with instead was Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man is like, you know, the definitive kind of movie that I've always loved. I feel like I'm going to say that for quite a number of these, to be honest, because it's just kind of true. But Spider-Man is one that, you know, that's another one that I've probably watched about 50 times. Spider-Man is kind of the one, like X-Men, that really started the modern superhero thing. I don't know. It's arguable. They all kind of had their, you know, contributions. They all contributed. All those early superhero movies. But anyway, Spider-Man, to me, is absolute perfection. There's so many memeable lines in there, just by the way. Like, I was watching it recently after No Way Home came out, and like every fucking minute there's a meme line that I know from like internet memes and stuff, and it's great, you know? I just love that. I don't see the part where that's my problem. Whatever he says. So now I'm screwing up the memes. Anyway, Spider-Man's awesome. Then 2003 came a few of the best Christmas movies in all of existence with Love Actually and Elf, but those are not my picks. Neither is Old Boy, which kind of pains me because Old Boy really deserves it. But instead, I went with another children's film like Monsters Inc. just before, and it made sense because what age am I at this point? 7? Something like that? Math? What's math? I went with Finding Nemo, okay? Finding Nemo has some of the best animation, especially for the time when it comes to like the ocean shit and stuff. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about animation and how hard that must be or whatever, but it's like beautiful to look at and stuff, and it's just very memorable. I don't know. Finding Nemo was my pick for this year. What are you going to do about it? Then 2004. It really pains me not to go with Shaun of the Dead, because Shaun of the Dead, again, another favorite of mine. Dodgeball, hilarious movie. Before Sunset, The Butterfly Effect, which I think is so damn underrated. And I didn't go with Spider-Man 2 either, because again, I don't want to just be going through all of the sequels over and over again. Instead, I went with probably the one you're expecting. Yes, the first Saw movie. I had to go with my boy James Wan. You know how I feel about Saw if you watch any of my channel. If you don't, I feel strongly about Saw. I guess, yeah, is the way to explain it. Saw, I think, is something that really, it is one of the first movies that really made me fall in love with the horror genre, even though it's more of a thriller than a horror, but it's kind of one of the first ones that I went into just to actually watch by myself, where I was terrified, but soon in, I found out that I wasn't so scared. I was just captivated by what was going on. And I don't want to be, I don't want to exaggerate, but I think Saw kind of changed my life. I really do. Plus, I've liked doing some Saw coverage on this channel because they've gotten some of my most viewed videos, so that's nice too, isn't it? Check out my ranking all the Saw traps video, by the way. 20,000 views. Woo! 2005 was kind of a weaker year for me because there aren't that many options in the what are they called? Runner-ups. I could have gone with Hard Candy fantastic, morally complicated film that I would not recommend to many people, but I thought I should give it a mention here because I love it. But that's not the one I went with. My favorite movie of 2005 is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah. Shane Black is a fantastic director who does just the comedy, action, buddy cop type of stuff so perfectly. And he continues that in 2016 with The Nice Guys, just by the way, which isn't my favorite of 2016, but I'll get to that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a movie with so much funny, quick dialogue that you have to like keep up with the entire time. It's very meta. There's a lot of jokes in there. Plus, it has a genuinely actually pretty interesting like case that they're investigating or whatever. And so, you know, that's a plus as well, but that's not really what I like the movie for. I really like it for its like sleekness and funniness and that sort of stuff. Is funniness a word? Who knows? Then in 2006, again, weak year, because straight up, the only one that really jumped out in my mind anyway, apart from maybe Saw 3, but again, I don't want to go through all the sequels. My favorite of 2006, maybe regrettably, is Borat. Look, I don't think Borat is the best film of all time, okay? It probably wasn't even the best of 2006, but out of what I have seen, Borat is my favorite movie from that year. That being said, I do think it's a better movie than we remember. I don't think Borat is just my life line and whatever. I think there actually is something really great in there where Sacha Baron Cohen knows exactly how to pull out the exact sort of reactions that he wants from certain people. He knows how to bring out the racism, he knows how to bring out controversy and that kind of stuff, and he knows how to play people. This dude, like, he's playing with people's minds left, right, and center, even if it looks like absolute nonsense and he's just being an offensive idiot. I think there's so much more to it, and Borat is a genuinely, really intellectual film, if you ask me. I think a lot of people in 2006 took it the wrong way and they're like, ha ha ha, foreigner, isn't it funny the way he says things? And it's like, literally the movie's making fun of you, but I don't know. Anyway, 2007 came Hot Fuzz, Ratatouille, Atonement, and Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. But the one that I went with was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I know Harry Potter's kind of a hot topic at the moment. J.K. Rowling doesn't have the best opinions on things, and so, you know, that really kind of sucks for the Harry Potter franchise. But I can't deny that I love Order of the Phoenix. I really do. I think it's like a pretty damn perfect film, and it's my favorite of the Harry Potter movies. Then there's 2008 with The Dark Knight, The Hurt Locker, The Strangers, and Eden Lake. But I gotta give it to Iron Man. That's my top pick for 2008. Again, Iron Man was also one of the contributing first movies that really started the superhero craze of the past decade or so. But this one literally was. This was the start of the MCU. It's kind of a big deal. I've watched it many, many times. There's something about it that, like, I don't know. I love the confidence about it from the very start. They know what they're going for from the very start, and it's undeniably great. We all know what Iron Man is, so I don't want to talk about too much, but yeah. Then there's 2009 with District 9, Inglourious Bastards, which originally was my top pick for this, but I swapped it over. And also the horror movie Triangle set on a ship, and recommendation right there. Triangle, if you haven't seen it, so good. But the winner for 2009 for me is 500 Days of Summer. This was my favorite movie when I was a teenager. I covered it just earlier this year. I did a video essay on it explaining how I felt, I guess, about the relationship and the different characters, like the two main characters and their mentality going into that relationship. I think it's a very interesting film that changes when you watch it over time. Like if you watch it when you're 15, you're going to be watching that movie very differently when you were 25. Trust me, I know. And yeah, I just think that it is a very, very funny, fast-paced film as well, but that actually has some really interesting characterization there that, like, you know, there's some deep meaning that's really going on. 500 Days of Summer is something that has, it's a beautiful film. It's got a great soundtrack and all that kind of stuff, and I've just always loved it so very much. Honestly, Inglourious Bastards was originally the top spot for 2009, and I think objectively that's a better movie, to be honest. And, you know, any other day, maybe I would just be like, nah, fuck it. Inglourious Bastards is my favorite. But I have to give it to 500 Days of Summer for being this long-lasting film throughout my life, really. It's kind of a big deal to me. So, I don't know. I didn't want to, like, disrespect it by not having it be, like, the winner. You know what I mean? Then there's 2010. I could have given this to Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and it pains me that I'm not. I could have given it to It's Kind of a Funny Story, or Tangled, or Batman Under the Red Hood. But again, I had to give it to my boy James Wan once again, and I went with Insidious this time. Insidious is kind of the little brother to The Conjuring, I feel like. It's the one that people don't pay as much attention to. They're like, yeah, whatever, shove over, I don't give a shit. Where's The Conjuring? But I think Insidious is maybe better? I don't know. I don't know if that's true, because for a long time I've said The Conjuring is my favorite horror movie, so maybe I'm just like bullshitting right now. I'm not exactly sure. But Insidious, I feel like didn't garner as much attention for whatever reason, and I've never really understood why. I think that it is super underrated, and I think that it is going for something, honestly, a lot more creative than The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring too, but that's very traditional, you know what I mean? But Insidious, with the further and everything, the whole idea there that's going on, and with Patrick Wilson's character and his kind of connection to the past and everything in the further, and this like time travel in the further as well. It's just a very, very creative film, that first one and the second one, and the third one and the fourth one and whatever. They kind of get worse as they go, except 2 is my favorite. Okay, let's just do it. It goes 2, 1, 3, 4. You know, that's my ranking. Definitive ranking of Insidious. There you go. But yeah, I don't know. Insidious was one of the first horror movies that I saw in cinemas. You know, Saw was the first horror movie that, maybe not the first, but one of the first horror movies that I watched just at home. And Insidious was the first one that I saw in cinemas. I was absolutely terrified too. And again, much like Saw, Insidious changed my life. James Wan is really the reason I love horror, and it's as simple as that. Then in 2011 came Captain America: The First Avenger, which I really think is super underrated. A lot of people don't love that movie for whatever reason. Anyway, there was also 50-50. There was also You're Next, which I kind of want to be like the winner of this year. But anyway, then there's The Raid. We need to talk about Kevin, and we need to talk about Ezra Miller nowadays, right? right. Ugh. And then there is also Drive and Crazy Stupid Love. But the winner of 2011 comes Cabin in the Woods. That can't be that much of a surprise if you know me. Cabin in the Woods is something that is just, again, going for something a lot more creative. It's the whole meta thing that I really love. It definitely pokes fun at the genre that I love. And there's just, I don't know, I like it so much because it is comedic and it is going for like a parody of horror movies, but it's not scary movie. It's not goofy and silly and stupid. It actually has a story that's going on, and it's more satirical than parody, I suppose, because it's like, it's actually going through the tropes that it's making fun of. It's actually being what it's making fun of, rather than just being like this silly thing, if that makes any sense. I think there's a bit of a difference there, and I really enjoy it. And I just think it's a really clever film. Then 2012 comes The Hunt. This is the Mads Mikkelsen one, which I think is a fantastic film. Very heavy themes in there though, not going to be for everyone. 21 Jump Street is another runner-up, but the one that I had to give it to this time is Django Unchained. While I think Inglourious Basterds is probably Tarantino's best film, in my opinion, Django Unchained is the best movie of 2012, which I just told you. No, but I don't know. I think Django's really good. It's a 2.5-hour movie that, like, I've watched it so many times, you know, and like, you don't often just casually jump into a 2.5-hour movie. Not that you go into Django casually, exactly, because it does have some very heavy themes in there as well. It's not exactly the most fun film until it is in moments, you know what I mean? Like, there are very heavy themes. It's not fun, but then Django pulls his guns out, a rap song comes on, and it's like, this is cinema. This is cinema, man. Like, I fucking love it. I love it so damn much. Plus, Christoph Waltz is so good in everything that he has ever been in. And Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy is one of the best villains in cinema, if you ask me. Then in 2013, I nearly went with Her, which is so good. I nearly went with The Conjuring. I nearly went with Rush, Short Term 12, Snowpiercer, and originally the winner for 2013 was Prisoners. But I changed it last minute. Just before I started recording, I just changed this one just last minute to About Time. About Time is one of those movies that just makes you feel good. There's sad moments in there too, though, but there's just something so adorable about time. Plus, I love time travel and all that kind of stuff. I do like that this movie's not too complicated in that way. It's like, don't worry about how it all works for now, you know, just enjoy what's going on until a bit later when it starts to get a little bit like consequential. It's like, if you do this sort of time travel, this could affect this, and it's a big deal. But, you know, for the first half of the movie, it's just kind of like this rom-com with time travel, and I love it. I love it very, very much. And yeah, it just feels a lot more clever than I guess you might expect from a film like this, maybe. Plus, it's more like heartfelt and sentimental. Like, this is a much more emotional film than I feel like it maybe needed to be. You know, if you were trying to sell a rom-com with time travel, you'd probably think first, like, go super nerdy and, you know, make it appeal to like the nerds who are super into the time travel and stuff, make the main character like a comic book geek or whatever. But instead, they don't do that, and they make it more of a traditional rom-com that just feels really nice and warm in your heart, but that also has time travel, if that makes any sense. I think it's a bit different than the way I might have gone in if I were making a film like this, which I wouldn't. I don't make films, but anyway, don't worry about that. Then 2014 was honestly very easy. If you know me and you know my favorite film, it's coming up soon, but the runner-ups for 2014 were Gone Girl, Wild Tales, John Wick, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Voices, the one with Ryan Reynolds, and Captain America, The Winter Soldier. But the one that I went with, undeniably, easy, I didn't debate this one at all, was Nightcrawler. Jake Gyllenhaal and, what's his name, Dan Gilroy, they made the best film of all time in 2014. I'm sorry, they just did. Riz Ahmed also shows up, which is kind of just another cool little thing. And this is a movie that's very much about criticizing the media and showing the hypocrisy in, you know, broadcasting tragedies, which brings everybody's attention to those tragedies. And then we all act like, oh, it's so bad. But then we look at the next one, and there's just something very clever about the psychology there and how it looks at society and our kind of need to watch that car crash, you know what I mean? And also, it has one of the best depictions of a villain. Again, better than Calvin Candy from Django Unchained. I think Lou Bloom is one of the best film characters of all time. He's such a complex beast, I think is the word that I should give him. Lou Bloom is somebody who is just, oh man, he's such a creep. You don't want to be around this guy. And Jake Gyllenhaal does his very best performance of all time here. He's my favorite actor, and I think that portraying this character was something fucking magical. Then in 2015 came The Revenant, Steve Jobs, Mad Max Fury Road, Age of Ultron, Land of Mine, Sicario, Bone Tomahawk. There was also Room, not The Room, but just Room with Brie Larson, The Gift. But the one that I went with was the Stanford Prison Experiment. Now, this is probably one of the ones that has least been seen on my list here. It's a little bit of an indie pick or whatever, a bit of a hipster pick or whatever, but yeah, the Stanford Prison Experiment is one that I've watched probably, I don't know, 5-6 times or something like that, and that's just because I find it so damn interesting. If you don't know what it is literally, I think in the 70s, I might be making that up, but some amount of time ago, they decided to bring these college students, whoever wanted to do it, like whoever wanted to sign up for money, they paid them to come and do this prison experiment. And yeah, he basically divided them up randomly. And assigned one of the groups to be prisoners and the others to be guards of the prison. And they basically set it up as to running like an actual prison, and they just see how this affects people. It was kind of an experiment to see how prison works, but really the main focus on this experiment was more about power dynamics, and if you were given power, what you do with that, and the amount of people that will abuse that power just straight away, automatically. It's shocking how quickly people turn on each other when put in an extreme and very specific situation, and it's really concerning, I suppose, and I think it's a really interesting film. Now, this isn't a documentary, this is a fictional film, but it's based on a real situation that happened in real life. It's like a biopic, I suppose. I don't know how accurate to real life it is, but either way, it gets your brain thinking about it, you know, and I think it's really interesting, even if it's not that accurate. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, love it. Then 2016 comes Arrival, which deserves the top spot, I will say, but I didn't give it to Arrival. I didn't give it to Zootopia, All Nocturnal Animals, Train to Busan, The Nice Guys, The Founder, Boys in the Trees, or War Dogs, but I did give it to La La Land. I love La La Land so much. This is another one like About Time that kind of just makes you feel good until it doesn't, because there are some hard-hitting moments in this as well. But for the most part, I just really love watching Sebastian is Ryan Gosling's character's name, I believe, who just like has this affinity for jazz. And I've never really been into jazz. I don't really understand the love for jazz all that much, apart from being background music for some of my videos. But there's something really entrancing about watching this guy just talk about the thing that he loves so much, and then go into wanting to like build this career for himself. And I love kind of how this movie is very much about art. It commentates on how you can be in a relationship, but also, you know, dedicate a lot of your time to creating art. This is very much a big part of my life that I'm always trying to do a better job of balancing. And it just kind of hit me hard in that way. While I don't agree with the overall point that it makes in the end, actually, I will say, and I'm thinking about making a video about that one day. But either way, La La Land hits so damn hard for me. I love every minute of watching it. Plus, it's a musical with music that I actually enjoy, which is rare. I don't love musicals at all, but La La Land really is one that turns me around on that opinion. Then there is 2017, and I could have gone with Get Out, and I can't believe I didn't a little bit, but I also didn't go with 3 Billboards Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I didn't go with Mother. I didn't go with Happy Death Day, Wind River, Cargo, A Ghost Story, One Cut of the Dead, or It Comes at Night. Again, once you get further into the 2010s and everything, I start to have way more runner-ups just because the 2010s is really my year of films. Like, that's just, I hadn't seen that much from the early ones, and I'm trying to broaden that. I'm watching more older films and everything, but for 2017, I went with I, Tonya. That's probably an unexpected one if you don't know my favorite movies. I, Tonya is kind of a weird choice, I guess, because it's a sports movie. I don't really care about sports, especially ice skating. Like, I could give a fuck about ice skating, like in real life or anything. I don't care about that. What I do care about is the film I, Tonya. I, Tonya is something that really gets deep into its main character. I know that this is based on a real life person. I don't know how I feel about that person. I think that this film kind of sugarcoats things a little bit. If I'm being honest, I don't think that this is exactly accurate. I think the real life person probably had more to do with the situation that happens than the movie depicts. But if I'm looking at this just as the film itself and I'm looking at it as just the character and not the real life person, I feel so much sympathy for this main character, and I feel so bad for her, especially not just when the big climactic moment happens where somebody gets very hurt and it is arguably her fault or not. I feel sad for her when she's just trying so damn hard to be this winner in ice skating, but people keep turning her down basically because she's white trash. You know, she's not the, you know, rich fancy lady in the pretty dress and whatever doing everything that everybody else is doing. She's this hard-hitting tough girl who's just like very good at skating. She just happens to be really good at that thing, but she doesn't quite fit in that world, and I just think that there's a really interesting element there. I also love the storytelling that's kind of got this like flashback stuff where things are obviously exaggerated. Things didn't go exactly how, you know, she's an unreliable narrator, and I really like that element to it too, and it's really funny. I love I, Tonya very, very much. Oh, by the way, I didn't know who Tonya Harding was before I, Tonya though, so is it funny that I, Tonya is one of my favorite movies of all time? In 2018 came Game Night, one of the best modern comedies ever. Upgrade, Hereditary, Into the Spider-Verse, and Damsel. But the one that I went with was Bad Times at the El Royale, which is basically a Tarantino movie, really. It's very much based on his works, much like Two Hands I mentioned earlier is. Bad Times at the El Royale is something that I can watch many, many times. I haven't that many times. I think I've watched it 2 or 3 times, but it only came out in 2018, so, you know. And yeah, I'm very excited to see the director's next work, if it's anything like this. This just hits close to me in terms of being very funny, being very dark in certain moments as well. I enjoy the hell out of it. Then there is 2019, The Sound of Metal was a very close runner-up. Joker as well. Then there was also Us. There was also The Art of Self-Defense, The Lodge, The Art of Racing in the Rain, which is a really heartbreaking film I really recommend. Avengers Endgame, of course, but the one that I went with, and sorry to be the really obvious one, but I agreed with the Oscars this year, I gave it to Parasite. Parasite is a movie that I saw in mid-2019 before everybody else, I just want to add. Look at me. But I was overseas, I'd never heard of Parasite before, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I think it was in August. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Looks kind of interesting. I went to see it. I fucking loved it. And I thought nobody else would ever hear about it ever again in their lives. I made a little video about it. And yeah, I thought that would be that. Then comes the end of the year and the Oscars and everything, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's watching it. And yeah, part of me was like, fuck you, man. This was my movie. I found it. But that's bullshit, you know. I can't take ownership over something I literally had nothing to do with. And really, it's just a great thing that people started paying attention to this little film. I'm so happy, to be honest. Like, once I actually get over the whole, that was my movie first, assholes. Once I get over that feeling, I start to realize, holy shit, I'm kind of proud of everybody. You know, everybody's actually appreciating this fantastic, fantastic little film that I feel like easily could have gone by unscathed. Like, nobody would have batted an eye to it, and I wouldn't have felt like that would have been weird. I would have expected that. But no, everybody loves Parasite, and good, because it deserves it. Then next up is, of course, 2020. I could have gone with I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I could have gone with The Father, PG, Psycho Gorman, Words on Bathroom Walls, or Freaky. But the one I went with, I hope it's on screen, is Possessor. Possessor is so fucked up. Possessor is a really disturbing film. Again, one that I would not recommend to just about anybody. It has, what does it have? It has high impact violence, sex scenes, and nudity, and it is graphic, especially in the violence right there. Oh man, this movie is, yeah, this movie's pretty fucked up. and I really enjoy the hell out of it. I think it's interesting how it kind of explores the idea of identity, I suppose, and what makes you through its like sci-fi sort of story. And it also kind of breaks down the difference between your mentality and your physical body. And there's something really creepy about it as well. And it's really creative and reminds me of like something like The Matrix or something like that too, because she's going into people's bodies, but it's like digitally. It's cool. It's just cool as hell. Anyway, then there's 2021, and I could have gone with Spider-Man No Way Home. Definitely a very special film to me. Could have gone with Last Night in Soho, Tick Tick Boom, Malcolm and Marie, Knitram, Mass, Gunpowder Milkshake, Nobody, The Last Duel, or Malignant. I know that's a lot of runner-ups, but as I said, the further you go in time, the more runner-ups I have, just because I feel stronger about modern films than I do films from the past. Sorry, that's just how I am. But the one that I went with, and this is controversial only because of release date, but the one that I went with was Promising Young Woman. This is a movie that technically came out in 2020 or whatever, according to, I don't know. According to other countries anyway, according to America, blah, 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 you guys got it earlier. We didn't get it till 2021, so I'm counting it here. Whatever, I don't care. I don't care if IMDb labels it as a 2020 movie. For me, it's 21. Okay? Promising Young Woman is a film that really makes you think about gender, I suppose. Really, it's definitely a very like feminist-centric film, and it's something that garners a lot of sympathy for its main character, who is doing something, I guess, for revenge, but it's also for the right reasons, but it's also for somebody else. She's a very selfless character who is dedicating her life to doing something that arguably might just not work. It might all be for nothing in the end, but there's something that feels heroic about it that I really appreciate. I want to make a video essay about Promising Young Woman one day, to be honest. It really, I don't know, it feels very modern. It feels like it has a strong stance, and it's really saying something important, and I love it. I love it so very much. And anyway, now we are in 2022, and I thought I would go through just some of my, you know, my favorite one in this year as well, because I've been alive in this year, so it should count as one of my favorite movie in a year that I'm alive in 2022. This sentence makes no sense. Anyway, my runner-ups for 2022 comes Fresh. Fresh is so good. You know how I feel about that if you watched my recent video about it. Turning Red I watched twice already because it's so adorable and so funny and so fast-paced, and I love that the main character is just this annoying little girl. Like, there's something about it that like it feels relatable, because it's like this kid who wants to be taken seriously and wants to be a grown-up and whatever, but she's just this kid who shouldn't grow up too fast, but then, you know, everything that happens, she's kind of learning all that stuff and embrace who you really are and everything. There's something really emotional about this film. I really like it, but mostly what I really like about it is the animation and how ridiculous everything is. It's so fucking funny. I love Turning Red so much. I showed it to my mum because I just thought it was cute and everything, and I show her a lot of horror movies, which she doesn't exactly like all the time. So I'm like, let's watch a nice one today, and we watched Turning Red, and she fucking hated it. Anyway, also Everything Everywhere All at Once, fantastic banger of a film. It's so damn good, very creative. I don't think I love it quite as much as everybody else, but it's still a 5 out of a 5 film. On Letterboxd, I gave it 5 out of 5. So if that makes any sense, there's a tiny little crack there in between my rating and what I think everybody else feels about that movie. I think a lot of people really fucking love it. I think a lot of people are going to forget about it, to be honest. For me, I really loved it, and I will remember it, but I think there are other films like it. You know, it's kind of like The Matrix, it's kind of like Into the Spider-Verse, kind of like Inside Out, I guess. It's kind of like a few movies. I don't think it's as mind-blowing as other people are saying in terms of being like original with the premise. Exactly, but things it does with that premise are very original, if that makes any sense. Like how they access the other multiverses, for example, is such a good excuse to give these characters reasons to be doing stupid things. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. I also could have given my favorite to 2022 to The Batman, and I also could have given it to Ambulance, which I think is Michael Bay's best film, and honestly, I really enjoy Ambulance. But my favorite movie so far in 2022 is X. X is another one like Possessor, which is pretty fucked up. It's one that is definitely pretty graphic in pretty much every sense of the word. And it's something that I feel a bit dirty about talking about. It's like, ew, that movie is very, I don't know. It's like, it goes hard with what it's doing, you know what I mean? But I also think it is fantastic. I think it's also saying something really important. And I think that there is something really deep in there if you can look past things like nudity and violence and whatever. Because it's genuinely a really good film. And if you can not just like giggle at the things that are going on screen, I think there is a lot more past that. Once you you know, get past all that kind of the graphic stuff, it's like, wow, this is a really fucking good film. That's just how I feel. I love X. I think it's a great movie. That's all. Those are my favorite movies from each year that I've been alive. Thanks for watching. And please, before you go, remember to do the things! Which I like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. Bye.